Being human. Do you ever wonder what makes us who we are? Our habits, preferences, or where we came from? We are expressing ourselves in thousands of ways every day through our choices. Let's have a conversation with people who are having interesting lives. My name is Alun Walker. I'm a doctor of chiropractic and a human being.
Well, we're back again for Series 2 of Being Human and Chiropractic Revolution. So I'm greatly excited today to have with us a really good friend of mine who has been involved with chiropractic for several years now. And she has been involved also with the Scottish College of Chiropractic and sending her associates and chiropractors to there. She'll be talking about that. But I'd like to very warm welcome to Laurie. Laurie Coburn, very welcome to you today. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. I've got several questions I want to ask you, if that's okay. I mean, I'd like to know a little bit about people's family and occupation, that sort of thing, you know, how you got involved in chiropractic. But if you want to go straight into it, I'd like to ask about, you know, whereabouts you're recording from today.
Yes, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on, Alan. It's so exciting, and it really is an honour to be asked. So I am speaking to you from a very, very, very cold Gala Shields in the Scottish borders. So we are not as far north as some might expect, but we are just close enough to the border to make us extra Scottish so that nobody confuses us for the English.
God forbid. God forbid.
Yeah, God forbid. We don't want to all be tarred with the same stick.
No.
Yeah, so we live in a very, very beautiful area. It's quite rural. We're very often referred to as country bumpkins. We're sort of out in the middle of nowhere, massively surrounded by sheep and hills, but it is very beautiful and very, very cold today. But I love living in the borders. It's funny. When I was younger, I did so much travelling, and I moved away from home when I was quite young to move to the city. And if somebody had told me when I was 17 years old that I would be back living in the borders and happily settled here, I never would have believed it. But my heart obviously belonged here, and by coming back here, my life completely changed, and I love it. And I'm very, very proud to be a borders gal.
So you actually, you know, do you mind me asking a little bit about where you're working from and who you're working with at the moment? Just a bit, because obviously it's chiropractic. I don't want to lose people straight away. I want them to know who you actually are. I think a lot of people recognise you anyway. But you're obviously working with Donald Francis.
I don't know. Yes. So I've worked with Donald for nearly 6 years. We have two practices in the Scottish borders. We have one in Gala Shields, which is where we are currently, and then we have our sister clinic, which is in Hoyk, which is about 30 minutes away, which is actually where I'm from originally. And it's they're both beautiful. I'm very, very proud to be part of Tweed Chiropractic Clinic. So I met Donald actually a lot longer ago than 6 years. It's quite funny how we came to be in each other's space, actually. But Donald and I have become a bit of a double act, and obviously launched Luminate last year, which is our new coaching group, which just celebrated its first birthday, which is very exciting. So I'm extremely, extremely lucky to have fallen into this man's space, and we've just been making some magic ever since.
So it's been 1 year since you've had a coaching group now. You've been running a coaching group up in Scotland. Are the people that you're in the coaching group, are they coming from England? Are they coming from Scotland? Are they coming from both? Have you got any European people yet?
We have a beautiful, very, very, very successful chiropractor who is in Germany, and then most of our clients are from south of the border. So we don't have any Scottish ones yet. So even though Donald is an adopted Scotsman, I'm holding out for the Scots here, but most of our coaching obviously is done remotely. So pretty much everybody that we work with is down in England.
I'm going to come back onto that if it's okay with you in a little bit. But first, go back again to your family, and
Sure.
you know because your career originally started you were an actor. Or actress, as it used to be called actress, didn't it? Now everyone's called actors. I don't understand what's going on there.
Yes, no, everybody's an actor.
Yeah.
Yes, so I moved up to Edinburgh to go to the MGA Academy of Performing Arts when I was 17. And did a degree in musical theatre and performing arts, which was very different. Well, some days it's not quite so different from what I'm doing now. But so I studied, and then I did a few different jobs, working as a professional singer. Did a bit of touring around, did a residency in a hotel for Warner Leisure for a year, and I did really enjoy it, but ultimately the lifestyle really didn't suit me. It was a really, really tough industry to make it in, and I kind of found myself in this place where I didn't like who I was going to have to become in order to survive in it, and it just didn't sit right with me. So ultimately I decided to go traveling. I was still super young, at the time I was maybe 22, 23, and thought, you think you're an adult then, right? And I've such discovered that I'm still not, and we're talking about 12 years ago now nearly. So I travelled for a long time, and then came back to the Borders because I met a boy.
Ruined by a boy,
who was in Gala Shields, and ruined by a boy. He's got a lot to answer for, because I came back and had no job. I was working with my dad, who is a sheep shearer. He's a sheep shearing contractor. So obviously, just to sort of backtrack a little bit, where I grew up was very rural, and we've always had that sort of farming background. My dad's a really, really hard grafter, amazing sheep shearing, working in New Zealand, Australia, and Norway. And my sister and I were exposed to that from like our whole lives. So we were brought up on that farming, that sort of graft, and so when I found myself at a loose end, I was out rouseying with my dad, which is wrapping up the wool, tidying up after the shears basically, but getting all the fleeces ready, packing them up so that they're ready to go away and be cleaned and be sold and all of that shebang before they become jumpers and woolly hats. And I happened to be working on Donald's farm, and I was working with his wife, his wonderful wife Katie, who I'd worked for them previously when I was younger, and Katie had just said to me, what are you doing once the shearing season finished? And I said, it's a great question, I have no idea. And she says, you should speak to Donald. And I'd been applying for loads of jobs around in the area, but I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do at that stage. I was 25, didn't really have a career as such, and was still sort of putting a few pieces together and trying to figure out what I wanted to do as a grown-up job, I ended up speaking to Donald. I went in to get adjusted because I had a sore neck, a sore shoulder. I mean, you can imagine in that sort of, knowing what I know now, I know it was much more than that, but ended up going to speak with Donald, and he had said that he was looking for a CA. Now at the time, we had a different practice manager who had hundreds of people that were applying for this job. I had no idea what chiropractic was. I just kind of looked at it and thought, it's maybe a receptionist job or something. But Katie had said to Donald that she'd seen something in me that she thought would work really well for him, just being very driven, hard grafter, but personable. I've got a lot of experience in caring for people and looking after people, and I'm quite an organised wee beastie. So there was a lot of different moving parts that I would never have thought being a CA would have I didn't think that would be the sort of role for me, but actually the further I got into it, I'm kind of like a cat, you know. I'm probably on my 7th of my 9 lives, so I better start being careful. But I went through the interview process. Donald wasn't allowed to tell anybody that he knew me, and went through the full interview process, and ended up completely falling in love with the job. And chiropractic had to take me on a few dates, obviously, for me to figure out what it was. The first time I ever got adjusted, I went to Donald's house, and my dad had said to me, "Oh, you probably won't like it, but it might make you feel better." And that was my introduction to chiropractic, and
Pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate. Yeah, and
so how old were you with that first adjustment? How old were you on that first adjustment?
I was 25.
Yeah. So you've been around. You've been around the business for 6 years. So just to summarise, coming through as an actress and singer, and moving through your life into shearing, back in working with your father and tidying up the wool and that sort of thing, and then going for an interview as a CA. That's like really random career path, but obviously one that was meant, I believe, in the universe.
Random.
So it brought you to where you are today. And so from being
100%.
From being a CA and training to be a CA, which is, there's a lot to it. As you say, the CA is the if chiropractic's the picture, then the team around it is the frame, and without what both need each other, don't they?
Is.
But for you, after you had that training as a CA, how did you then move on to becoming where you are now? Because you're still only looking at the sort of 6 years from original chiropractic adjustment to actually coming through to standing up now and speaking at places like the UCA.
Do you know what? It's huge, and I often have to stop and think and wonder what actually happened. You know, I was extremely lucky. It's something that is very, very close to my heart, is that I was really lucky to be in a space and in a practice where I really loved being in that space, having that connection with people. The job just lent itself to so many different parts of my personality and different experiences that I'd had through my life that some I would have thought were completely irrelevant, that somehow managed to fit into this role and really make me thrive. And I think that I always showed so much interest in chiropractic itself, and when there was a bit of a change around within the clinic, I could just see somehow, and you and I are very similar in that I completely believe in energy and the power of the universe, and just think that it was actually probably something innately that I knew how to do. I couldn't tell you what I did or how I did something. I just knew, and I could see this space where there was things that I could do to help support Donald, that then turned into a practice manager role that I took over, and together we started to turn the clinic into what it has become, and I've got a beautiful CA team, and started to realise that growth would come from being able to share what I knew with other people in order for that to happen, because we could see the impact it was having on our patients and on our community, and thought, well, if we can have that in the middle of nowhere, then why can't that happen for everybody else? And we've made every mistake under the sun, but it ultimately leads to, it's all part of your journey, it's all part of your path. And I think my opportunities I've been so blessed for working with somebody like Donald who saw that in me and saw how keen and eager I was to learn and to grow and to do something that mattered, to help people, and to understand and really just jump in with both feet and become so immersed in chiropractic that it didn't matter that it was a CA job answering phones. I could still do something if I showed willing, and to be nurtured by somebody and given that opportunity to grow and to learn, and not feel like the next step of progression was to become a chiropractor necessarily, even though I would have loved to. I think if I'd come into chiropractic when I was younger, that would have been something that I would have done eventually. But now I have so much pride in being a CA and understand the importance of it in terms of the patient journey and in terms of, you know, running a practice. There's this sort of, I can't even think of the word, and it's very rare that I'm lost for words, but I just thought, you know, there's a space for these people to grow and expand, and for CAs not to think that once you learn how to work Practice Hub that it becomes a mundane 9-to-5 job, that there is so much more room for growth, and there's no ceiling on it if you're willing to push through and look and see what's up there. And it's quite nice to be kind of making my way up through that and looking back down and saying, come up here, it's great. Let me take you with me. Let me show you how we get there, and really empowering people to do that. And it's just wonderful to have that.
What do you think you're looking for when you're finding when you're interviewing for your next CA? What's the qualities that you're looking for within these people? What's the ideal sort of, if you like, the avatar? We have an avatar, don't we, for the ideal client? But what's the ideal CA? What sort of person are you looking for?
For me, it's always about who, you know. CVs are great, experience is great. I am a wee bit woo-woo. You can always feel it. I think looking for somebody that is looking to help people and but also looking to help themselves. I think that people that come in out of curiosity more than anything, not just looking for a job. I mean, some of the best, all of our CAs are made up of people that were either patients previously or were made up of people that were looking into chiropractic and saw this opportunity to come in and learn and to be adjusted and have their family be adjusted, you know. And I'm not saying that everybody has the scope for that, but you know, I love people that have got hospitality background. It's where I hailed from. I had loads of it, because they're super resilient, they're hard working, they're good at working under pressure. So I think that sort of drive, somebody that's really driven and hardworking and really focused, but very people-centred. And I think the good thing about having hospitality people is they are used to providing service to a specific level, and that should be expected within a chiropractic clinic as well. So I think that people that have that understanding and are really people-focused and focused on experience, the patient experience, the consumer experience is absolutely vital. You can teach anybody to press buttons and answer emails and manage a diary, you can, but it's more about who they are as a person and why they want to be there. That's the most important question for me out of any interview. It's not about what experience you have, it's why are you here? And I love the ones that are saying, oh, I've read your website, I'm so interested in health and understanding chiropractic, or I've had a family member. I love when they've got examples of people, whether it's them or family members or loved ones that have had a wonderful experience within chiropractic, and they say it changed their lives. You know, those people that want to come in and understand why we're here and why we do what we do and how we do it, and not just want a 9-to-5 job. And some of those can be great as well, because they get to come in and they get to learn and be exposed to all the wonderfulness that chiropractic is. But I don't think there's a clean-cut sheet. You know, it's the same with chiropractors graduating from college. You know, everybody does all the right things to get the pass mark, but it's sort of like learning to drive, isn't it? You do all the right things to learn how to pass your test, but you don't become anything until you've passed that, and then you learn how to make it your own, and that's what makes it special. And I think that it's super important that people give CAs the chance to find their feet and find their greatness, because that's when the magic really happens in the practice, isn't it?
No, without a doubt. I want to ask you another question. With your with the business that you and Donald are supporting, working in at the moment, managing, you've started this other thing as well, which is Luminate. Can you explain to me why that was set up and what you're looking to do with it in the future.
So our vision really is that we want to enlighten, empower, and evolve chiropractors, because in order for them to thrive, because when we have thriving chiropractors, then chiropractic as a profession will thrive and have a much greater impact on the human experience. We want to see chiropractic thrive and really want to get it out there into the world so that we can help people live a much better expression of life. And we see such beautiful results within our practice because of what we do, and because of our front desk team, and because of our systems, and because of the techniques we use. Everything that we've done that has created this real massive ripple effect within our community that produces these beautiful results. Imagine that ripple effect could happen everywhere, and if we are able to guide and nurture these people, because so much within the profession is changing now, that it's trying to hold on to what's sacred and what actually makes chiropractic, and really be true to the real principle.
Yeah, without a doubt. So at the moment, do you have any courses running at the moment, or have you got anything which is happening in the future to do with taking on, if anyone was interested in joining your group, being mentored by yourself, what have you got actually on offer at the moment?
So we've got lots of exciting things going on. So we have our one-to-one coaching, which is available for people to work with either Donald or myself or both, just depending on what sort of areas that we want to work on. But a massive part, our massive main principle is the be, do, have. You know, it's about who you are that determines what you do, and therefore what you have. So we're very, very much focused on the who and the mindset. That's a lot of what our coaching's built around. But in terms of myself for CAs, a lot of it can be more practical things, you know, training CAs, doing work with teams, that sort of thing. So on the one-to-one basis, that's what we offer. We also run our bi-weekly group coaching. So we have our online school group community where we host bi-weekly group coaching calls, where we'll do we pick a topic and maybe do a small lesson on that, and then open up to the group for discussions, Q&A, and by having the school group, obviously, you know, you learn the most from the people that are within the group. So it's a really safe, secure space for people to ask questions, to support each other, and obviously support from Donald and myself as well. And we're building out a really nice library of the recordings of all of these calls for people to have access to as well. So it's a really exciting space to be in, that we are just starting to grow. So we're really, really enjoying doing that. And we do currently have an offer on, so we are offering people access for £195 a month, which means that you basically have access to us all the time, access to the community, and the bi-weekly group coaching calls. And if the time doesn't work for you, then everything's recorded. So as long as you're in the group, then you've got access to everything, and can ask questions anytime. We are also running numerous seminars. We've done 7 this year, I think. So our next big upcoming one will be our first brain-based chiropractic seminar of the year, which splits into 2 parts. So we've got the big idea and we've got mastery, which existed, which is the creation of Donald's brilliant mind, which has existed for a few years, that is now merged into Luminate. And we are very, very excited that we are going to do our first one, the only one that we're going to be hosting in the UK for the beginning part of the year, in Gloucester on the 24th and 25th of January. But it's very exciting because we are doing a lot of work at the moment to rework the programme. So the teaching, the knowledge, everything's exactly the same, but we're just going to be rework it. So it will be getting its first outing on that weekend in January on the 24th and 25th, which is very exciting. And then obviously we have our brand new seminar, which is our Luminate Success Formula, which had its first outing in November, which was amazing. It was really, really exciting. So we're a pair of busy bees, always up to something. But we exist because we want to support the chiropractic community and help people to thrive. That's why we're here, and we're just finding lots of really fun, exciting ways to do it.
Perfect. So can you, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
So the easiest way is to either go to our website, which is www.luminate.net, or to follow us on social media and just get in touch with us. If you're unlucky enough to know Donald and I personally, you can just get in touch with us anytime. But if you were to come through our website or through our social media page, we're a small team. It's just the pair of us with some really awesome people helping us on the back end with all the bits that we're rubbish at to make the whole thing come to life. But we're pretty easy to reach, and we are always happy and excited to welcome new people into our space.
No, look, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I've got lots more questions to ask you in the future, and I'm hoping that you'll come on in the next month or so, and
yes.
we can see how the training's gone so far and what you're looking to do further on in the future in 2026. But Laurie Coburn, thanks very much for coming on. That's been amazing. We know a little bit more about you now, and we know more about what you've got to offer. So thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Alan, and have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.